We're now a little more than 2 years into post-Roe America, and from this vantage point, it's clearer than ever that abortion bans are a threat to the lives and health of all women of reproductive age, all of them. If you can get pregnant and you live under an abortion ban, like every American citizen in these 22 states, you're not safe. The anti-abortion movement fed the American citizenry a steady diet of lies over the decades about abortion itself, about their aim in restricting access to abortion, and about what would happen if they succeeded. But perhaps the most pernicious lie was the most foundational one. The anti-abortion movement told us that what abortion is and who gets abortions. They told us abortion is plain and simple ending the life of an unborn child. And they told us that by and large, abortions are sought by bad, immoral people. Those are lies. Abortion is health care, period. It is sought and needed by hundreds of thousands of Americans every year. It is routine. It is necessary. It is health care. Forced birth, on the other hand, is a human rights violation, according to Amnesty International. But even now, as we're faced with story after heartbreaking, infuriating story of desperately ill patients being turned away from hospitals and emergency rooms, the people responsible for the abortion bans are still lying to us, right to our faces, telling us stories about exceptions. They want us to believe that even under their dystopian abortion bans, patients they deem to be worthy of exceptions will still be allowed access to abortion. Besides being a moral outrage, it's simply a lie, both in spirit and, importantly, in practice, because you cannot pass a law that bans a medical procedure and threaten doctors with up to 99 years in prison if they break that law and then expect them to ever perform that medical procedure. Let's take Texas, for example. Texas has a total ban on abortion with exceptions for the life of the mother, but explicitly, and this is going to become important in a moment, explicitly not for the health of the mother. Which means that even if a pregnant person needs an abortion to avoid serious bodily harm, a doctor cannot perform that abortion unless death is imminent. This week, the Center for Reproductive Rights filed complaints against 2 Texas hospitals that refused to provide emergency care to 2 women with ectopic pregnancies. An ectopic pregnancy is when the fertilized egg implants and begins to grow somewhere other than the uterus. Ectopic pregnancies are never viable. They can lead to significant complications and even death without treatment. The treatment for ectopic pregnancy is abortion. The Center for Reproductive Rights argues that by refusing to provide care, the hospitals violated the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, EMTALA, which requires hospitals to provide stabilizing treatment. Kylie Thurman and Kelsey Norris de la Cruz both had ectopic pregnancies. Both women were turned away from hospitals. Norris de la Cruz went to the emergency room for her ectopic pregnancy, where she was explicitly told that her fallopian tube may rupture. Against the recommendation of an ER physician, Norris de la Cruz was discharged without any treatment. Hours later, she found another OBGYN for a second opinion and was rushed into an emergency surgery that saved her life. Despite the fact that my life was clearly in danger, the hospital told me that they could not help me. I ended up losing half of my fertility, and if I was made to wait any longer, it is very likely I would have died. Kylie Thurman's story is similar. Both women were rushed into emergency surgery after being initially turned away. Both women nearly died, and both ended up losing a fallopian tube, forever damaging their bodies and forever impairing their reproductive health. The Center for Reproductive Rights is currently representing dozens of women who've been denied or delayed in receiving necessary abortions in life-threatening situations, despite facing serious risk to their lives, health, and future fertility. Last year, the Center for Reproductive Rights brought a suit against the state of Texas on behalf of 5 women who said that Texas's abortion laws prevented them from getting the care they needed. The case grew to include 20 women and 2 doctors. Amanda Zarowski is one of those women. She was 18 weeks pregnant with a baby girl that Amanda and her husband very much wanted when Amanda had a serious complication that was going to be fatal to the fetus and extremely dangerous for Amanda. Despite the fact that the pregnancy was no longer viable, despite the fact that the condition put Amanda's life and future fertility in serious jeopardy, her doctors were unable to treat her with an abortion because there was still a fetal heartbeat. After 3 days of being turned away from the emergency room, Amanda developed sepsis. And it wasn't until she was at death's door that doctors would perform an abortion on her. She very nearly died. And after 3 days in the intensive care unit, Amanda was left with extensive damage to her reproductive system. Her doctor had to surgically rebuild her uterus, which had collapsed, and one of her fallopian tubes is permanently closed. Texas recently ruled against Amanda and her co-plaintiffs. So let's just be very clear about this. The treatment for an ectopic pregnancy is abortion. Without treatment, you may die. The treatment for sepsis in the uterus is abortion. Without treatment, you may die. The treatment for miscarriage that your body does not expel on its own is abortion. Without that treatment, you may die. Abortion is health care. Abortion is a medical procedure that women should be entitled to get for any reason. Nobody should be forced to carry out pregnancy or forced into childbirth ever, period. But this is no longer even a question about choice or bodily autonomy. These abortion bans mean that every woman, every single person with a uterus of reproductive age is at risk.